easy going through a divorce.
I got tired of people thinking that everything was perfect when it wasn't.
And I think I lost me. I have this beautiful house. I have amazing kids. But the one thing that I don't have is love.
Do you think you'd have time Friday night to go on a date?
Divorce is about starting over, and you have to learn how to live again. Oh, he's cute.
And scary.
You've been doing hard things your whole life.
Every person is going to come with their own challenge. It doesn't matter if you've been married for 20 years or not. The guy who you're going on the date with is going to have a flaw, perhaps several flaws, just as women, we have our flaws, and you are gonna have to adjust and adapt. But you had a husband who you had already adjusted to, perhaps, and adapted to. And why it's confusing is because we don't understand as Black YouTube why she's choosing to go out into the streets as if she's gonna discover someone perfect or someone who perhaps, doesn't have any flaws. So now the fact that she did go out there and we saw clips of her crying and complaining, and she did all the TikToks and all the reels, talking about her experience and how difficult of a time she's having. And everybody can't help but point to the fact that, as she said, when she started dating Corey Hardrick, he courted her. And there's, I would imagine, a sense of comfort with Corey Hardrick because, again, they were together for 20 years. You can, you don't have to worry about him doing anything to your kids or, all the things you have to worry about when you're newly dating. There are people who don't really like dating because when you date, you can't really let your guard down because you don't know who that person is. You haven't been able to experience the person long enough to really show you who they really are. Versus if you're married for 20 years, you might have a pretty good idea of who the person is. And so the question becomes, why is she choosing to go out there and deal with the unknown when the known is right there? And instead of trying to work on and fix that, get that together, you're willing to just kind of, reinvent the wheel. You're willing to go back to the drawing board and start over. And in your 40s, that's a big task to take on, right? And so I think embedded in her story is also this question of what does it mean to be happy? What is happiness? Because we've heard Tia talk about not being happy. And the question becomes, when you're married, is the goal to be happy? Because there's a lot of things we do that we continue to do, and it doesn't always equate to being happy. Like if you have children, most parents will admit, although they love their children, being a parent is a lot of work. You're not going to necessarily be happy all the time, right? If you have, depending on what your career is, even doing YouTube is a lot of work, right? So this notion of like, oh, I wasn't happy, and so I think there's a lot to sort of examine in terms of perhaps did Tia make a mistake, and will we see her back with Corey Hardrick at some point, right? Because it's clear, he's made it clear that he wants his family. So this is kind of her doing, and it's really hard to hear her cry and complain when you know that when it seems like the reason why she potentially walked away was not one that warranted that. And if it is true that she left him because she believes he is too controlling, my question is that a valid reason?
It is not easy to take life head on.
I just want love.
No, you want love and understanding.
Yes.
What I've seen myself do throughout this journey is take that leap
Can I get your number?
Do you think you have time Friday night to go on a date?
And not even know where I'm going.
Hi, gorgeous.
But also just to have fun. Let's go big! No matter where I'm going, I have my tribe, I have my children, and I have me. Girl, you got this.
There's also the question of what is love? You know, is love loyalty? A lot of people would say that love is loyalty. And Corey perhaps showed loyalty to Tia by keeping his vows. I heard Tasha K say this, you know, Tia talks a lot about trying to find herself, and the reason why, you know, she wanted to find herself, but she's spending a lot of time trying to find someone else to replace Corey. She cries about not having a family structure, yet she is the reason why she doesn't have a family structure, is because she got a divorce. So there's just a lot of contradiction. You know, the men that she's been dating, perhaps they are there for a good time, not a long time. Whereas Corey was there for a long time. He was there for the long haul. And isn't that love? The question is, you know, is she deceiving her audience by dancing around and parading around like everyth's fine? Yeah, she dances around, she parades around, she does all that. And it's like, is that authentic? Because for every dance you do, and all the parading around and making it seem like you're enjoying the process of being single and dating and out here in the streets, for every laugh, there's a tear that falls. In her reality show, even in the first, like I said, snippet that was aired, it's clear that even the way the internet has responded to her has impacted her mental health.
I became obsessed. That's a little intense. I became fixated on what people thought, what people were saying, what people were thinking. Oh God, the real reason Tia asked for a divorce. Really, do you know the real reason? Tia Mowry keeping her divorce a secret, but here's why. Why did Tia Mowry give up a good thing and leave her man? And if I'm being very honest with you, it made me mentally ill. I remember when I first got a divorce and I signed my divorce papers. And right after I signed, I had to go straight back to work. I wasn't really able to fully process like what really was going on. I knew what was going on, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't have time to just stop and really process what had just happened.
And, you know, I think this is, to be honest with you, I think it's an interesting case study. Again, this is not about shaming. This is not about gossiping. This is about what can we learn from Tia Mowry, right? And if she does end back up with Corey Hardrick, her ex-husband, if she ends back up with him again, will that be telling? You know, for all the creators that she was upset with because, you know, we've been making videos about her and things like that, if they do end up back together, that will be very telling. And so this is just my opinion, but let me know what you all think. As I shared in my last video, for the Black and Invisible membership, in the month of October, I will begin doing request-only videos. So it will be exclusive content for members, but by request. So if you are interested, hit that join button. You can also click the link in the description box. Like, share, and subscribe. Click the links in the description box to get to know what I do with my business, Curated Legacy LLC. Join the Black and Invisible YouTube membership. and purchase my book on Amazon about being an invisible Black woman. This is Naka here, and I'm here to make the invisible visible about modern Black women. And as always, stay tuned for more videos.